The Dr. 4269 says, it seems to me that it takes a certain eye to see that a shaving razor with some greeblies could become a sci-fi communicator. How much of that eye do you think is innate versus teachable? I think it's eminently teachable because I have done model making classes for large groups of people 3 or 4 times. More than that, I think. And when I've taught model making classes, I arrive with some plastic forms, a crap ton of greeblies, some weld-on, some CA glue, and some gray spray paint. And I give a lesson in thinking through Star Trek ships versus Star Wars ships. I talk about the different design modalities of those different aesthetic executions. And then I do some practical demonstration, and then I sort of go around the classroom watching everyone do their thing. And sure, you're not wrong that being open to seeing one kind of object inside another is a skill, but I don't think it's necessarily innate. Look, I believe that almost everything that would be important to us to learn is learnable. And there are also things that I have been unable to learn in my life, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's not my strong suit. Like, I've talked about this in the past, I've got terrific kitchen skills in terms of cooking and sauteing and following a recipe and modifying a recipe, and my chopping skills and my prep skills. They're all really, really good. But a menu is not an aesthetic landscape to me. Try as I might, I can't think through like, okay, what would be the first course, middle course, latter course, dessert course? How would these operate and go together? I live with an excellent cook. My partner is an amazing cook, and she thinks through a menu in a fundamentally different aesthetic way than I can. Now, not to say that I couldn't possibly learn that, but I haven't yet. It's not for lack of trying. So I've just sort of come to understand that, like, you know, my aesthetic exploration involves things like, what color does this guy end up being? A little more than it is, what would be a great appetizer if I'm making a roast tenderloin for dinner? I think that these discussions about whether something is innate in terms of a creative excursion or the ability to see something, I don't think it serves us much. I don't, specifically because I'm not trying to categorize all the things I might be good at aesthetically and might not be good at aesthetically. I'm trying to just attack and work within the stuff that I find compelling, the projects I want to try and execute. And in regards to that, wait. There we go. In regards to that, Mike is making stuff has a question where he says, in a world where making has become both a personal expression and a public performance, how do you distinguish between what you build to understand yourself and what you build to be understood by others? And so when I am making, I'm really trying not to think about other people that will see the thing that I'm making. I am trying to service my aesthetic desires with it. But I don't think you can, okay. Actually, I have. So, Mike is asking, what do you build to understand yourself and what do you build to be understood by others? I build everything to understand myself. The whole reason I ever started making in the beginning was because in the process of making, I learned about myself. I learned about my aesthetics. I learned about how I think the world might want to look. And that has been an unbroken and amazing journey. And Ryan Peck says, you put out a ton of content, more than any other channel I follow. How do you sustain that? Does it feel overwhelming? Is a vacation a time to recoup? The spread of content across so many topics, keeping things fresh, or having a support staff that isn't just behind the scenes, but is part of the family of the channel? And then actually, H. Berger also says, when you post content every day, do you find consistency is the key to maintaining and growing an audience, or is it better to focus on making quality videos less often? I'm trying to grow my art and creativity channel and trying to strike the right balance. These three questions feel of a piece. I will say that the main thing that we have learned on this channel, all of us, is that we are always wrong about what we think is going to go great, and we are never right about what we think might not go great. And we're just surprised on a very regular basis by what takes off, hits the algorithm, generates some real response curve. And what that keeps telling us is this is not a gameable system. And I recognize there are plenty of people who have gamed YouTube to spectacular effects and to deep bank accounts. That's not what we're interested in doing. It's not what I'm interested in doing. And I don't think it's anyone on the team is interested in just figuring out how to game it. We just want to make lovely content that gets seen by as many people as possible. And because we keep being wrong about what we think will do well versus what actually does well, that makes us just go deeper into ourselves to make the stuff that we're interested in. That's the abiding lesson, I think, institutionally, that we have for that. And so, you know, I have other friends who are YouTubers that talk about like engaging the audience and how to, I feel like, and I'm saying this from being very lucky and being able to be publicly creative for decades now, but I still feel like it's a lottery if the stuff you're interested in is also something your culture is interested in. And I'm lucky enough that the stuff I'm interested in, is also stuff that my culture tends to be interested in. And that's not always going to be the case, too. Right? Like, you know, it's a process that goes up and down. But my ultimate answer to all three of these questions about what makes the channel work, is consistency the key? For us, every time we've tried another periodicity than releasing about a video a day, everything goes down. We can maintain a video a day pretty reasonably with this team of 3 editors, a GM and me and a couple of other people supporting other parts of the company. None of us are killing ourselves to put out these videos, and we're able to maintain this periodicity, so we do. But that could all change tomorrow. It could change tomorrow. Well, all of a sudden, you know, it turns out that's too many, and we might experiment. One of the things that Kristen Lemazny, who is the general manager of Tested, one of the things that Kristen loves more than most other things in the world is data. She loves data, and she loves comparing and talking to other people who love data, figuring out what data she doesn't have, figuring out how to get the data she doesn't have, how to use the data she does. It's deeply, deeply data oriented. And still, like I said, we are constantly wrong. Gather all the data you can and just keep on doing what seems to be resonating. That would be my advice to H. Berger about growing your creativity channel. Try a bunch of different things. Try one video every week for a while. Try one video a month for a couple months. Try one every few days. And again, also, don't just see how the audience responds to that, but see how you respond to that output as well. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about Tested membership. The Tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from Tested and from YouTube. The Tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the Tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback.
That's a member right now.
Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. Description for everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.